In this video, we will discuss about some of the problems that people might face who have done this kidney transplantation, or we can say we will understand these problems in the biological terms or in depth, what is happened within the kidney, so that one can increase their knowledge and take action uh, to reduce occurrence of such problems. So first one, yeah, this panel shows the kidney transplanted region. So the problem, the whole figure is based on ischemia reperfusion that we have touched upon this word in our previous video, in which we have understood the meaning of this term. Ischemia means that when there is a decrease in the supply of blood. So when there is any kind of kidney transplantation occur during the initial phase, or during the transplantation, or after, soon after transplantation, there is a phase where the organ suffers, organs are in the phase of ischemia, that is they lack the supply of blood, regular supply of blood, and after that the reperfusion means restoring the supply of blood. So by during the reperfusion, after some duration of ischemia, the organ might observe some of the problems, such as in the case of kidney, what happens is that during ischemia reperfusion, the pro-coagulated factors get enhanced. So let us first understand the ischemia condition. What happens in the ischemia? In the ischemia, when there is a lack of supply of blood, there is a contraction of these vessels occurs, and simultaneously some of the cell death also occurs because they are not able to get sufficient blood supply or food that usually comes from the blood, and that is shown here, that this is the normal contraction, and when there is a lack of supply of blood, there is a contraction of the blood vessels we observe, and we can see that some of the cell death or tuber necrosis, cell death in biological term we can call this condition as tubular necrosis. So necrosis is the cell death because of the lack of supply of blood, and this is the normal tubal sorry, previously I have told you uh, some wrong information about this figure. This is the normal renal tubule. So in this we can see that uh, there is this is how the normal renal tubule looks like. Renal term is related to the kidney. So in biological sense or in medical uh, field, renal is the term that is related to the kidney. So what happens during the ischemia condition? Tubular necrosis occurs, that is the cell death occurs, and simultaneously vasoconstriction also occurs. That means that contraction of this endothelium layer, that will leads to increase in the pressure of blood if there is a blood. So, and when there is a reperfusion phase happens, that is the supply restoring of the blood supply occurs, what happens is that the pro coagulated factors uh, got upregulated or get upregulated during reperfusion phase, especially in the case of this renal reperfusion. So what happens during that condition? There is a increase in the amount of platelet that will attach to the endothelium layer, and simultaneously these macrophages and fibrin formation will also increase. That will cause different problems. First problem is that they will restrict the flow of the blood, so it will impair the reperfusion process, and because it will provide restriction for the blood flow, and This is known as reperfusion injury. And what happens in the vascular injury? In the vascular injury, what happens is that there is accumulation of these procoagulated factors such as platelets, macrophages will accumulate, so that the restriction of blood flow is further increased, and thereby the extreme condition is that of the hypoxia fibrosis. What happens is that this the fibrin macrophages, platelets, all will uh, almost restrict the flow of the blood, and this will leads to the conditions such as angiogenesis and fibrogenesis. This means that it will lead to new blood vessel formations, so instead of going blood flow directly into the fibril, it will direct the blood flow inside the endothelials, or inside the endothelial layer. So this will, in long term, it will cause the shortage of blood within the transplanted kidney. So these are some of the problems, and what is the science behind these problems is shown in this figure. If you need to understand this thing in detail and need to read this whole or paper, then you can go through the reference that has been provided in the description. So that's all for this video. Thank you for your time.